Like any other From Software game, Elden Ring Nightreign also has many secrets, a cryptic story, but most importantly, several gameplay elements that the game does not tell you. With how fast-paced the game is, players will feel overwhelmed as soon as they land on Limbo. To prevent this from happening, we have made a list of 15 things and hidden gameplay elements that Elden Ring Nightreign does not tell you. At first, you might think that the color relic slots your Nightfare has are the only ones you will get, but if that were the case, builds would be extremely limited and not fun to pull off. One of the gameplay elements that unlocks after beating the first boss is the ability to purchase items that change the color palette of your character's relics. For example, the Wilder can go from having red and blue relics to having green and yellow ones. To get these items, you have to either buy them from the small Jar Bazaar or progress to each character's story. Since we don't have the usual Elden Bling, as some people call it, Nightreign includes a ward-up system with at least 2 new skins for each character. Unlocking this system will take some time and a lot of effort. To get it, you must complete at least 2 expeditions, and by that I mean actually killing the final boss. Once that is done, you will see a big mirror in the east wing of the roundtable hold which you can use to change your character's skins. However, each new outfit will cost a lot of mark, which is the game's currency that you can only get by finishing expeditions. It may not be the most useful feature in Nightreign, but once you unlock new bosses you will want to streamline your expedition settings. The game has several options that let you copy your previous expedition settings and select only the bosses that you have yet to beat. That way you can focus only on the Nightlords you want to tackle instead of selecting one that you have already beaten. However, be careful because if you select a solo expedition, but you also choose different bosses, the game will put you in the expedition of the first boss you have on the list. One of the secret features in Nightreign is the triangle or Y button, depending on your setup. If you're on your map during an expedition, by pressing these buttons you will get icons showing where a specific loot is. They will also show you where merchants are and where you can get more HP flasks. This is especially useful for those who wield a specific armament such as bows or staves. If you don't want to use this feature or feel that your map is getting too cluttered, you can just press the same button again and forget about it. As a bonus tip, you can also press down on the D-pad to see the underground layer, which is especially useful if you're exploring mines. Since there isn't a text chat function in Nightreign, communicating with other players might prove difficult. Let's say you want to tell a player that there's a weapon out there that is better for them than the one they're carrying. To do so, you can actually ping weapons on the map or any other item for that matter. Just walk up to the item or weapon, hold down Y or triangle, and then press L3 to ping it. That way players will know you're showing an item for them to grab. In the strange case that you're struggling to find a match, you should know that there is a cross-region matchmaking feature. However, it is turned off by default, or at least that was the case for us. To fix this, you can head to your options, find the network settings, and change your cross-region matchmaking options. When you next queue up for an expedition, you should find players more easily. One of the best features in Nightreign is the ability to run away from enemies and don't be afraid of them regenerating their health. If you are fighting a normal enemy or even a boss and you bring them down to half their HP and then run away, once you come back they will have that exact same percentage. This is quite useful if you're getting your butt kicked and just want to find a site of grace to heal up. However, this seems to only happen during the current day you're playing on. If a new day begins, all enemies will regenerate their HP. At first, every character will have a starting weapon with a starting element or weapon art. As you progress through the game, you will notice that these become obsolete, but that doesn't have to be the case all the time. Certain relics will allow you to change your weapon's skill and elements. For example, if your main character is Executor and you want to get a weapon that applies poison as fast as possible, some relics will do that from the start. You just have to make sure that the armaments are compatible with the arts, skills, and elements. It might be a bit too obvious, but some players will definitely forget how to upgrade their HP flasks. At the start of every expedition you will only have 3 flasks, however you can get even more if you visit churches. All you have to do is interact with the altar in the middle to get 1 new charge. Just remember that churches can only grant you 1 charge at a time and there are a limited set of churches around the map. If you are struggling with your HP, just make visiting churches your priority as soon as you land. A lot of Elden Ring players might have traumas with mines, but in Nightreign they are some of the most useful places. For starters, this is the only areas where you can get upgrade materials for blue weapons. You can also get smithing stones for white weapons, but those are easy to get through merchants. But if you are going from blue to purple rarity, you will need a smithing stone number 2, and you can only get that after defeating the mines boss. This might be news to some, but Elden Ring Nightreign has a story for each of the characters. However, these are a bit hidden and some people might miss it if they skip the tutorial screens. To start these stories, you have to find the journal at the east wing of the roundtable hold and interact with it. You will see some pages that have playable remembrances, which are the quests for all characters. A few of them can be completed inside the roundtable hold, while others will require you to go on an expedition. However, every single one of these quests can be played entirely on your own. By now, you will realize that after each expedition you will get a different amount of rewards. If you're lucky enough, you will get an item called the Old Pocket Watch, which, as a relic, is quite useful. It will let you get FP back with each hit while also giving you a hefty dexterity boost. However, it has another use that we will not fully spoil, but it has to do with the secret characters that you can unlock. If you already have the Pocket Watch, we recommend heading to the priestess and talk to her. Something might happen.
Thank you.
Like the previous entry, there is a second and final character that you can obtain, and while it doesn't rely on RNG, it has a very challenging boss fight, especially for those who don't have enough relics. After meeting certain conditions, visit the east wing of the Roundtable Hold. If you see a ghost around, that means that you're on your path to unlocking the final secret character. In Nightreign, you can find different forts around the map that have one very special feature. After beating the boss at the top of this place, you will see a room inside a tower that usually has a rack of bows or staves. However, the important part of this area is the table at the back, which has a small map. If you interact with it, you will get clues from the surrounding area revealing buried treasure and beetles. The latter drop talismans, which are very useful and good to pursue them. Last but not least, and probably the most useful thing that you can find in Nightreign, is an item that lets you revive yourself once. It is called a Wending Grace, and you can either get it for 10,000 runes or obtaining it as a legendary drop from a boss. However, it seems that you can only obtain this item once every expedition. If you're playing alone, we recommend visiting a merchant as soon as possible to see if they have it in stock. If not, you'll have to beat as many bosses as possible until you get a legendary drop. And even then, it is not guaranteed that you'll get this item, so it is all a matter of luck. Tell us in the comments if you have found any other hidden details or secrets in the game, and remember to visit thenurses.com for more content about Elden Ring Nightreign.